I've been using my Ronin S a lot this past year. The number one problem that I, and I'm sure many other videographers have with it, is that my right arm is now at least 3 times more toned than my left. The Ronin S is a stick after all. That's what the S stands for. So that means there's no way to evenly distribute the weight on this thing vertically. Meet your horizontal solution, dual handles. I was shopping online and I thought I'd pick up a set of these to see if I could make my days shooting any more comfortable. Then I thought, I actually have a wedding coming up this weekend. Why don't I see if my local shop has anything in stock? So I checked Henry's and I found what they called the Shape Dual Handle Grip for DJI Ronin S. Naturally, I tried to look up reviews on YouTube before I did anything else. There were no videos about this model specifically, and thus, here we are. I called up my usual location and picked it up later that day. The first oddity here is that the product itself does not mention the Ronin S anywhere on the box. I almost thought that they sold me the wrong model. It was on sale for $100 Canadian, originally $130, and Shape was selling it on their website for about $140. I actually thought this was going to end up costing way more. It might sound like a lot if you're someone not familiar with the brand Shape, but they're Canadian made and notoriously expensive. They make some of the best shoulder rig systems you can buy though. When I called the store to reserve it, the dude made a remark about how expensive he thought it was supposed to be, as did a fellow shooter. So I picked it up, and the build quality is great, just like you'd expect from Shape. It's aluminum, but it feels like it could be carbon fiber. It has some 1/4-inch threads you could screw all kinds of accessories into, and you can also mount things on the bars themselves with the right clamps and arms. The handles come off and can be positioned upward or downward, however you like. Everything is held by this one locking collar, which I'm not really a fan of, and I'll get more into that later. I shot with the handles downward, and was still able to use the Ronin S's tripod legs, which was pretty nifty. Game day. I tried this thing once before the wedding just to make sure it would work. The good news is it does, in fact, work exactly how you'd expect. I really found my pans and tilts to be much smoother with this thing. It almost feels like a giant steering wheel. The big movements just feel more precise. My arms definitely felt less tired by the end of the day as well, and I think it helped me look like 10% more legit. I do, however, have several problems with a setup like this, and I need you to know that they have nothing to do with this company's product specifically. I know there are many other products that look and operate identically with these same issues. Number 1, you'll have to jump back to the middle handle to use the thumbstick, record button, focus wheel, and trigger on the Ronin S, all of which are now going to be blocked by the dual grip. Unless you have larger hands, it's going to be tricky to use any of the Ronin's buttons. Once I sort of got into a flow for the day, I was able to switch to the middle control and use the Ronin's thumbstick, maybe tilt to a certain height, and then I could go back to the movement with both handles. This was perhaps the trickiest part. I would hold the grip with both hands, one on either side, then my left hand would hold tight. I'd kind of throw the rig up in the air a little bit, which would give me time to switch to the middle. And then once I made my movements or pressed my buttons, I'd kind of throw it back and get back onto the side. This is probably not the safest move for your camera. I tried a few times to slide along the bars with my hand instead of a mid-air grab, but the grab is objectively cooler. Sometimes I would just hold it like you'd normally hold the Ronin S, because I use my focus wheel to power zoom on the A6300. But I'll save talking about that for another video. Gripe number 2, you really need an external monitor to get the most out of this thing. Yeah, I'm like the only guy with a Ronin S that doesn't shoot with an external monitor. It's my own stubbornness, I guess. I really just want this setup to be as light as possible if I know I'm gonna be out holding it for 10 to 13 hours during weddings. If you're shooting high or low, you'll obviously need a monitor to see what your camera sees, so I know I'll have to pick up one eventually. I found that if you shoot wide with autofocus on and you point in the right direction, you'll still get some great stuff. Problema 3. This makes you so much wider. It's kind of a weird issue to point out, but I think it's worth noting. Navigating through crowds and narrow hallways sucks with this. Your arms are kind of gonna flail out when you use this, whereas with just the Ronin S stick, you can kind of keep your elbows at your sides. I bumped into way more things than people with these grips. It's just something to consider if you're shooting dancing or a smaller ceremony. And now for my fourth and biggest issue, this connection point. I don't abuse my Ronin S, and I don't even shoot with it every week, let alone every day, but I noticed that by the middle of the day shooting with these grips, the collar of the grips, the connection that I had really tight, it started to peel and lift the rubber grip of the Ronin. It's added wear and tear on the device. And I would be more concerned about it if the same thing wasn't already happening to the rubber bottom part on my Ronin where the tripod connections are. That's starting to fall apart. I'm not sure how this connection will affect other gimbals, and I think I like these grips enough to suck it up and shoot with them anyways. I've decided not to return them. Bottom line is these things are well made and a great place to continue to build on my Ronin S rig. And they make me feel like I have a Ronin M for a fraction of the price. I give the Shape Dual grips 1 reason to get a new Ronin S under warranty out of 5. That's gonna wrap up this little review. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll be doing another giveaway once I hit 1,000 subs, which I'm very close to hitting. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you guys soon.